Welcome to the channel. Thank you for checking out this video. If you own a Sony APS-C camera and you're looking to buy additional lenses, make sure you check out this whole video. I'm going to recommend my top 7 lenses for your Sony APS-C camera. Don't make the mistake I did of buying 20 plus lenses, having to sell them on because they don't fit your requirements. I'm going to give you the top 7 that I recommend, that I use all the time. So let's jump straight into the video. Okay, so you've got your Sony APS-C camera and you've probably got a kit lens with it. In this case, I've got the 16-50 OSS, and this lens is pretty naff in truth. And you're probably looking to upgrade to the next lens or having a look at buying extra lenses for your camera. Well, hopefully this video will help you out, making an informed choice and avoiding the mistakes that I made when buying lenses for your Sony APS-C camera. So let's jump straight into the video and have a look at the first lens that I ever bought, and let's jump straight into it. So the first lens I bought was the Sony 18-105 f4 lens. Now what's good about this lens is it's got amazing stabilization, absolutely fantastic for video work. It's got extra reach over the kit lens. Instead of only going to 50, this goes to 105, which gives you that extra reach, which I found really crucial. Because it's got an aperture of f4 as well, it means it's constantly, you can hold aperture at f4 regardless of the focal range, which is really handy. Now I used this lens primarily for 2 years on the Sony 6000, and every time I thought about selling it, I just couldn't sell it. It was just so good. If I had to take one lens with me on a job, this would be it. It's just a workhorse, solid, well built. Even though the image quality isn't as good as some of the lenses out there, it's just a workhorse of a lens. If you're looking just to buy one lens, I highly recommend this one. Now there is some downsides to this lens. It's quite heavy, and when it's mounted on the front of the camera, it does make it a little bit front heavy. The other thing is, like I said about sharpness, it's not the sharpest lens. It's a good lens, but not phenomenal. There are sharper lenses out there. Anyway, so that's the 18-105. Highly recommend this lens. Now the next lens I went for is the Sigma 30mm f1.4. Now Sigma released a trio of lenses, the Sigma 16mm, the Sigma 30mm and the Sigma 56mm, all f1.4, and all of these lenses are phenomenal. I went with a 30mm. Basically I was looking for an all-round lens. This is the equivalent of a 45-50mm on a full frame camera, and this is going to give you roughly what your eye sees when you take pictures. With that aperture of f1.4, you're going to get that really nice blurry background, and low light performance of this lens is off the chart. Image quality is sharp, but there is one problem with this lens. If you don't update the firmware to the latest version, you do get focus breathing issues. So make sure if you're considering this lens, which I highly recommend, make sure you update the firmware. It's an easy process. Just put the lens on your camera, plug your camera into a PC, go to their website, download the latest firmware, and it does it for you. But that's the Sigma 30mm, great all-round lens with its aperture of f1.4. Absolutely superb. And the next lens I went for was the Sigma 56mm. Again, this is part of the Sigma trio. And the reason I went for this was, well, I just loved the 30mm so much, and at that time I was doing loads of portrait photography, and this gives you the equivalent reach of an 85 on a full frame camera. So this lens made perfect sense for my needs. If you're looking to do any kind of portrait work, this is it. What I'm going to do, I'm going to link a few videos because I have made individual videos on all these lenses at some point. I'll link them in the description so you can check out if you're considering any of these lenses. Make sure you click on the one and you can get some samples and whatnot. But absolutely sharp as anything, and again f1.4. Now it's quite surprising really that this one didn't suffer with the breathing issue that the Sigma 30mm had. Sigma must have fixed that somehow with this lens. And so yeah, highly recommended. If you're doing any portrait work, Sigma 56mm, can't go wrong. And next up we have the Sigma 16mm. Looking at the performance of the 30mm and 56 Sigma, I just couldn't leave the 16mm out of my collection. Super wide lens, super sharp, aperture of f1.4, an absolute phenomenal lens. Again, it doesn't suffer with the focus breathing issue that the Sigma 30mm had. If you're looking to do any kind of landscape work or vlogging, this is the lens for you. Now, all these lenses I've purchased myself. I'm not sponsored by anybody to make this video. And all these lenses get used about once a week at some period. So yeah, the Sigma 16mm, if you're looking to do any landscape, wide angle work, fantastic lens, sharp as anything. Again, no issues with this lens, and you've got that aperture of f1.4, perfect for low light situations. Now we've just had to quickly change over lenses because the lens I was using on this camera here was the Sigma 18mm to 50mm, and this is a fantastic all-round lens. I wish Sony would have released this lens with the camera instead of their kit lens. This is absolutely sharp all throughout the focal length. It gives you a reach of 18 to 50mm. You get the same kind of sharpness as you do with the Sigma Trio. It only stops down to f2.8, but that's not going to be a problem for low light situations. Also, you're going to get the nice better bokeh with the Sigma Trio, 30mm, 16mm and 56mm. But if you're a little bit anxious about being out with your camera, you're looking for a small compact lens that does everything, Sigma 18 to 50mm is perfect for you. I went for this lens just on the performance of the Sigma Trio, and I love it. It's so small, compact. When it's on the body of the camera, it's lightweight, it doesn't stand out, and it does everything. Landscape, portraiture, you're covered. Fantastic lens, highly recommended this one. So if you're looking for an all-round travel lens, I recommend Sigma 18 to 50mm. Anyway, on to the next lens. So I was looking for something that gave me extra reach. Currently the furthest I could reach was the 18 to 105. So I really wanted something a little bit longer, and that's what led me to the 70 to 350 Sony G lens. If you've not seen this lens perform, it's ridiculously sharp and fast, accurate autofocus. If you're looking to do any kind of wildlife photography, this is the lens to go for. Now you could get the Sony 200 to 600 full frame lens, but this is about a third of the price, and the sharpness is unrivaled, I believe, especially for the Sony APS-C cameras. Is there any downsides to this lens? Probably the only downside, it is a bit bulky, but nowhere near as big as the 200 to 600. Also got to remember that this is on a full frame camera. It'll give you the reach of up to 525mm. It really does punch in. In fact, this is really good lens also. Even though it's got a variable aperture at 70 to 100mm, really good for portraiture as well. I absolutely love this lens. So if you're looking for a wildlife lens or something with extra reach, now it's a bit pricey, around the £800 mark, but this is the way to go. Fantastic lens. And the final lens that I use and is in my collection is the Samyang 12mm f2. Now you're probably wondering why I needed a 12mm when I already have the 16mm f1.4 from Sigma. Well, the Sigma 16mm, I find it sometimes you just hasn't got that wide enough angle to get everything in shot, especially if you're doing tight interior shots or real estate shots. You do need something a little bit wider, and that's where the Samyang autofocus 12mm comes in. It's on par with any of the other lenses with autofocus, and the image quality for a 12mm is exceptionally good. I wouldn't say it's the sharpest lens, probably a step down from the Sigmas, but more than adequate for your needs. Also great if you're doing any kind of handheld vlogging work. The 12mm is going to give you much better zoom than the 16mm Sigma. So if you're looking to do any kind of real estate or vlogging work, the Samyang 12mm is the way to go. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and my lens recommendations have give you food for thought if you're looking to purchase a new lens. If you have any questions or comments, put them below. I do read all my comments. Hopefully this community can help each other out, suggesting lenses that you require. Now, there are a few lenses that are missing from my collection, like macro lenses, etc. Unfortunately, I just don't do macro work really. And like I said, all these lenses I've purchased myself, and all of them get used on a regular basis. There's not one that I would sell or replace with anything else at the minute. The only one that may be considered going is the Sony f4, and probably swap that to maybe a Tamron 1770, but then I lose a little bit of reach but gain on the aperture, and I'll probably lose too much money on the Sony to make that a worthwhile investment. That's something to consider though. But hopefully you've enjoyed this content. If you have, give it a like down below, somewhere down there, somewhere. And yeah, subscribe to the channel. We'll catch up in the next video. Thanks for watching.